Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of The Strain. This week we've seen Season 2, Episode 10, entitled The Assassin. And do you guys realize we only have, let's see, this is Episode 10, so, 11, 12, 13, 3 more episodes left, and then the season's done. Still, it seems like it's been on again for a while, but at the same time I have this feeling like it just came back, too. And yeah, it's very unfortunate because after these next 3 episodes, we'll have to wait again until next year to see more of this. But yeah, let's not talk about that yet because we still have those 3 left, and the season's definitely picking up right now. It's been a very, very solid season all around. I'm not really certain which season I like more so far, but this has been a very good one. I've liked it. And this episode had a lot to do with, of course, the title being The Assassin. And, of course, refers to Eph and, Dutch going on the mission to assassinate Eldridge Palmer. That doesn't go so well. But it nonetheless led to actually some very good stuff. I was a little bit skeptical of Eph being the one to try and pull this thing off, because considering how they displayed his accuracy with Eichorst in the Battle for Red Hook episode, he's not the greatest. Of course, with Eichorst, like walking very slowly or almost standing still, Eph missed him, which probably isn't so much Ephraim's skill, it's more so a plot device that he missed like that. But nonetheless, I'm not sure why Ephraim was the one that was going to do this. But then again, as it's kind of illustrated later, it was kind of his idea. It wasn't like a group decision that they were going to do this. So it kind of makes sense. This is kind of fueled more so by what happened when he was in Washington and things like that. And of course, Palmer is kind of like a key to how the Strigoi, like Eichorst, the Master, and stuff are kind of like slipping in, into the system they're trying to take over. So, it makes sense on, multiple fronts, but somehow I see someone like Fett or even, I don't know, even Dutch pulling it off a little bit better, I'm not sure. But, yeah. Ephraim does hit a target in this one, just not the right one. But we'll get to that in a little bit. One of my favorite parts of the episode was because of Ephraim and Dutch being together. They just played off of each other really well, and for the past season especially, we've seen them kind of butt heads a little bit. Even when Dutch first came into the show back in season 1, they were kind of like very different people. Excuse me, but in this episode, we actually get some acknowledgement from Dutch of that Ephraim has changed. He's a very different person compared to when she first met him, which I think was when Ephraim was trying to do that newscast, to try and warn everyone back in season 1. I'm not sure though, but don't quote me on that. But still, it really does illustrate Ephraim's development. How he's came from season 1 where he really wanted to find a cure to this thing, but then eventually not quickly so much, but eventually he turned into more of an understanding of, Satrakian's understanding of how this is all working, and eventually, got more and more, I don't want to say cold, what she kind of did, a little more real to what they're dealing with and stuff like that, and he's a bit more, in simple terms, more of a badass now. And as Dutch said, he did look pretty cool holding that sniper rifle. So at least he looked cool before he hit the wrong target. But, okay, that's enough of mocking F, I think, because F is still probably my favorite character on the show. Him, Abraham, Quinlan, and Fett are my favorites on the show. Although I do like Dutch quite a bit, too. So, yeah. Besides that main plot point, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes, we also had, of course, Satrakian, Fett, and Nora continuing the search for the Yaxudo Lumen, and we actually finally found the book in this episode, so it's kind of good that we don't really have that plot line wrapped up, but we kind of reached a bigger point of it where we actually seen the book, so that's a good thing. I like seeing Abraham finally being able to flip through the pages and things like that. Sorry, it's it's like almost 1:45 a.m. in the morning here. But so I like seeing that. But unfortunately, we've seen that Abraham was we got a hold of the book, but after a certain thing that happened with Eph and Dutch, Fett and Nora took off, and so Abraham continued to search on his own. So when he does find the book, he gets knocked out, and someone else takes the book. So I'm guessing it's the person who was living there, who may have been still alive. We'll probably kind of see what he's like next week. But it's good that the book's actually in a very visible grasp of our characters right now. So that's some good progression on that end. And besides that, besides those two main plot points, we also got some more time with Palmer and Coco. And that was, it actually improved a little bit this week for me. I've been saying all season long that's probably the weakest point of the show. Just not that interesting, but I will commend the actor who plays Eldridge Palmer. He did a very good job in this episode, because when Ephraim takes the shot, he panics more and more. He feels more and more pressure, and he accidentally hits Coco. So Coco is shot, and just the way the actor portrays Palmer's feelings to Coco, being near death like that, you actually do kind of believe it, And so that's definitely a good thing for this part of the story, that I'm actually starting to buy into how he feels about her and stuff like that, So definitely credit to the actor for his performance in this episode. And in a shocking twist, Coco actually survives. The Master actually makes good on what Palmer was hoping he would do, and he actually saves Coco's life, dripping that bit of his blood into her mouth. But I still don't see Coco lasting too long on the show. Because she ends up, of course, waking up, obviously, and there's a hair that keeps on dangling right there. You're just going to have to deal with that, as do I. But anyway, she is kind of made aware of, who Palmer's been working with at the end of the episode. Not fully, but, she starts, getting a very good idea of it when she sees the Master's face and stuff like that. And Palmer says, he's no longer going to lie to her, and he's sorry he had to for so long. And I have a feeling she might end up helping our, core characters somehow. I'm not sure. But I know it definitely looks like, based on her facial expression, she doesn't want to be on this side of it. As always, have to let my cat out. Luckily, though, I did feed her before this video started recording, so hopefully she's not back and forth a whole lot while I'm still doing this video. Again, I apologize for that. I know it happens pretty much every time I record something, but so what was I talking about? Oh yeah. But yeah, I think she'll end up helping our core characters somehow, or at least trying, not fully cooperating with Palmer at this point. But we'll see how it goes. And I still kind of feel like she'll be caught in the crossfire somehow, or I don't really see her making out of this season. And yes, the Master helped Palmer again here, but I don't think it's anywhere near as close of a relationship as Palmer thinks it is. He is in no way the Master's partner, I don't think. I think it's pretty obvious that Palmer is really just sort of like another tool and a puppet for the Master that he's using to pull strings. And eventually he's not going to have a use for that string anymore. Once that occurs, he's just going to, toss it. So I think we'll see that eventually by the end of the season, hopefully. And again, I do kind of like the Master in Bolivar's body. He kind of lost that presence of how large he was in his original form, but I will say the face with Bolivar looks a little bit more creepy than the original Masters did, so I do still like that. This is what happens when you have Facebook open. Hold on a second. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so that was good, and surprisingly good, actually. And as I said, also Ephraim takes a shot, but he hits Coco, and then him and Dutch, unfortunately, caught, and they're taking it into one of the police departments, and that department is actually attacked by some Strigoi. But before that, we see that Dutch is actually taken off by one of the cops separately from Ephraim, and she's brought somewhere. We find out later what exactly happened. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Also, I forget her name, Justine. Yeah, Justine, the girl that's trying to go around and organizing all these defenses for the cities and stuff like that. For the city, I should say. For the districts and things like that. She made a speech, and she's kind of going against the what the mayor wants and stuff like that. And so I wonder if we're going to see Palmer eventually try to throw her out off the balcony too, or something like he did to the other girl last season. I don't know, but so there's that also. But it's kind of pretty much the same as it has been this season. But like I said, the Strigoi invade the police department that F was being held in, and they pretty much slaughter all the cops. And Ephraim, this other cop, just unlocks the door. Ephraim's saying, "Let me out, I can help you guys." But the cop just unlocks the door and locks himself in there with him, which is a pretty dumb move, considering that they're all just going to surround the cage now, so you're pretty much screwed. Chances are, anyway. But luckily, you have one of the main characters in there, so eventually he'll get free. But before that, the guy just gets But you know how that goes. So, Fett and Fett and Nora show up in time. But not before Ephraim has a conversation with, Palmer, and they kind of go back and forth with each other. I really like this exchange between the two characters. Them sort of, Palmer sort of showing the pain of how, Ephraim hit an innocent woman. She may be brain dead. But, that was before, I'm getting kind of out of order here, but that was before, she was revived by the Master. So I really like that conversation they had, really showing how divided they are, and, Ephraim not even caring if he sees any humanity in Palmer or not. And so you kind of get both sides, but, still Team Ephraim all the way. And, you basically just get Ephraim just completely just discouraged by Palmer, having an aid in what's going on in the city and this infection and disease and what's going on and stuff. It's just pure, how could you really, let this evil end and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm really butchering the conversation they had here, but if you guys watch the episode, see I'm talking about it. It's really like the back and forth there. And, like I said, Fett and Nora eventually show up and, take care of the Strigoi. And Fett, I really like Fett's reaction. I really like Fett's reaction when he finds out Dutch isn't there. And she was unfortunately, delivered somewhere, apparently, according to the one cop who finally, lets him go and tells him. And it looks like it's at the residence of who I feared, Mr. Thomas Eichorst. And, he has her, wrapped in around that chain. And he's pulling the lever. We've seen that back in Season 1, if you guys remember. And basically it looks like a way that he could be trying to use Dutch as cattle, pretty much, for feeding and things like that. Which is very dark ending for this episode. I was fearing for Dutch's life all season long. If you guys remember, I've mentioned that quite a few times. I'm kind of afraid of how long she's going to last. I like her quite a bit, but I'm just worried about her longevity in the series. And yeah, it looks like it's coming to fruition, but it looks like she might still have a chance next week. Especially with, as hellbent on finding her as Fett is, I'm still hoping something works out for her. But it looks like she's going to be put through hell next week. I'm just hoping she doesn't get infected or killed, or I don't know. I'm worried. But yeah, it's exciting nonetheless. Just a very grim ending. So yeah, especially when she's the one caught up in this love triangle we're also interested in. But anyway. So overall I did really like this episode, probably one of the better ones of the season, but again, the strain's been pretty consistent for me all the way through the series so far. So yeah, really like this one. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Add me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, MoviePilot, and look for me on SpoilerDead.com. And peace.